All right, guys, welcome into the AfterSchrock. This is where we do our thing after the program is over. Some stuff doesn't quite fit on the radio. Sometimes we don't have time for everything, but other times we do. So that's what the AfterSchrock is for. There's a little bit of extra time of the show that we can get questions answered, get you helped out with things if need be, while we are still here in the studio. So I'm taking care of a couple paperwork things here real quick while we wait for people to get joined up. Sometimes you have to rejoin. It takes a minute for everybody to get back in. Sending George's information over. For all of you who've ever won and said, oh, I never got my certificate, it's because you give us fake phone numbers usually. But people do. I don't understand that. Like we're going to creep up on you or something. We just want your phone number so we can give you money. I mean, that's so bad. And so we're getting George. George, I'm sending your information right now over to Ariel, and she'll get that certificate out on Monday. All right, so this week, interesting story happened in the service center this week. We are doing some, I debated saying this on the radio. I kind of broached it a little bit last week or the week before, because people are so freaked out about artificial intelligence. The brain immediately jumps to like Terminator stuff, like, killer robots that are going to end the world. In fact, it's that way for our developers too. So Alfonso is the lead developer in the Omaha Service Center who is working on the new Schrock. We're calling it the new online system, basically, because we have our online system that manages all of our workflow. It's a proprietary system that we built for ourselves that allows us to create work orders and then go through and have a structured way to keep all of our customers straight. Back in the olden days, we're talking, pre-2001, so 2010-ish, we did everything on paper. There was a paper work order. You came in, we wrote down your name, we wrote down all your stuff, and then that went on the computer and it went into the back. Now we enter it into a database where we can keep all the information about your computer in one place, and that way we know the whole history of what's going on with your computer, when your warranty expires, and all that stuff. Well, the next evolution of that system is going to be something that automates that even more. And so I hit Alfonso with some hard truth the other day. I said, Alfonso, do you realize that you're an AI developer? You're developing artificial intelligence for Schrock Innovations right now. Because, we didn't sit down one day and say, let's build an artificial intelligence system to run our business for us. I sat down with him and said, we have real problems. We have humans that work for us, right? They're really good people. They're the best people we can find. But humans make mistakes, no matter how good they are. I make mistakes. Right? So humans make mistakes. They write down that they called somebody, like, okay, I have to call these 3 people. Called. I called person. Then after they've written that on the paper, they pick up the phone and they call person 1, your computer's ready for pickup. And then they call person 2, your computer's ready for pickup. Ding dong, somebody comes in the front door. They take the papers, they set them aside. They help the customer, they go pick up the papers, they take them in the back and they stick them on the computers, and person number 3 never got called to say their computer was done. Person number 3 expects a 24 to 48 hour turnaround. That's what we promise. A week later, they're like, Thor, where's my computer at? And we're like, oh, yeah, it's been sitting here since the 27th. It says you got a call. I never got a call. Okay, can't prove you right, can't prove you wrong, so sorry about that. What if there was a way that we could get rid of that one possibility of a failure? I mean, that's what all these systems are, right? That when you wonder, a lot of people complain about government. I complain about government. Government grows because bureaucracy naturally grows. The bureaucracy is designed to prevent problems from happening, to create a structured workflow for a process to go from point A to point B. Whether you're in government, whether you're in business, there's always a bureaucracy to move through. Now, over time, things happen that the bureaucracy didn't anticipate. And so then you get a new rule that gets put into place. We don't do that because then this can happen. And it might only happen twice in a lifetime, but there's a new rule for that now. And over time, just like at Schrock, it happens too. The bureaucracy grows and grows and grows, and then all of a sudden we're spending so much time on paperwork that we're not spending as much time as we used to actually talking to our customers. So at Schrock, the emphasis for artificial intelligence is not to stop talking to our customers, but to take care of all the annoying BS stuff that has to get done in a business so that we have more time to sit with a customer at the front counter and help them out, rather than enforcing the 2-minute rule on the phone. The 2-minute rule is if we can help a customer with any problem in 2 minutes or less, we just help them. We don't worry about billing them. We don't worry about finding out who they are or anything. We just help them. We just build the relationship. If it's 3 minutes, we're not going to hang up on you. If we get to be 5 or 6 minutes, it's kind of like, okay, now I got to open a Schrock Desk session, right? What if we have more time to give that kind of help? Well, automating things will allow us to do that. Happy Sunday, Gene. So automating that will allow us to do that. So here's the deal. I come up to Alfonso, I say, Alfonso, you're an artificial intelligence developer. And he says, no, Thor, I'm not an artificial. Come on. And I'm like, well, what does artificial intelligence mean to you, Alfonso? And remember, he's a coder. Alfonso is the guy that could build this stuff, right? And he says, well, artificial intelligence to me is like when a computer makes decisions and learns from itself. So in other words, it has sensors, right, that collect data, okay? Those sensors could be Bluetooth sensors that detect what phones are in the service center when a particular customer checks in, so we can figure out what Bluetooth connection is paired to that customer, so that maybe the next time that customer comes in, their record auto loads on the front desk as they walk to the front desk. Again, now I don't have to, I can actually focus on saying, hi, Gene, how are you? Wow, it's been 6 months since you've been here. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. I must have talked to you on the phone recently. How are you doing? How are the grandkids? And actually mean it, as opposed to, okay, hey, Gene, how are you? What can I say to stall you while I look for the number on the back of your computer and type it into my computer stealthily, so now I look like a Schrock Innovations ninja? Little things like that. Or, for example, we talked about the possibility of setting up an employee app. The employee app would be an app that runs on the employee's phone that allows us, first of all, we know what the shop schedule is, right? We have a time clock, and inevitably, poor Ariel, somebody every day forgets to either clock in or clock out. So she has to go back and call them, what time did you leave on Monday, and then clock them out manually. If you have the employee app on your phone, the employee app, when you walk in the building, if you're supposed to be in the building for your scheduled shift, it clocks you in. And then if the Schrock cars have GPS trackers in them, when you go to do an on-site, it's not going to clock you out because it detects that you are in close proximity to a Schrock car. And as a result of that, the app's not going to clock you out because you're on an on-site. You're going to a customer's house. Did you know we offer free pickup and free drop-off? Just saying. So then when you get back to the shop, you go to lunch. It clocks you out. You come back from lunch. It clocks you in. I mean, wow, we've just saved Ariel how much time? We've just saved every one of our employees probably what? I mean, it's only a minute a day maybe, but 15 employees, that's 15 minutes a day, time plus Ariel 15 minutes a day sorting out all the time clock stuff. A half hour a day, that's tangible, measurable time saved. That's money saved. That's money that can be put toward other development of products and things. So then let's take this a step further. Now, if you want to put in a sick time request or a personal leave or something like that, you can do that through the phone. If you leave work early, if you go home sick, if you're late for work, it'll text you. The system will text you and say, you're late for your shift. You're supposed to be there right now. You have 5 minutes before you're going to be late to work. Do you need to report to management that you are going to be late today, or are you going to be sick today? Because I have a problem. Things happen in lives. I get it. People have kids and stuff. Sometimes the last thing you're thinking about is, oh, I got to tell my boss I'm going to be 5 minutes late today. Well, if you're going to be out, I can move employees from other service centers. In fact, why does it even need me to ask that? If you say you're going to be out, the system can make a decision. It can look at all the workloads in the other service centers and determine that Papillion has 3 people today, but only really needs 2. So we could redirect that one, and it will determine based on the information, the skill sets we put in there, which technician to take, and it'll text that technician and inform them they need to report into the Omaha Service Center instead of the Papillion Service Center today. So I don't even have to be involved. The employee, all they have to do is touch a button on their phone and everything gets taken care of automatically. So Alfonso, what you're telling me is the system has to learn on its own. So it has to learn that this particular employee tends to be sick every Monday morning. And so it just automatically tells them not to come into work. I mean, that doesn't seem right to me. So I said, let's look up the Webster-Merriam Dictionary definition of artificial intelligence. The actual definition of artificial intelligence is any time a computer can replace a human in the decision-making process. So it doesn't have to be Terminator figuring out who to shoot and who not to shoot. All it has to do is replace a decision-making process that a human would have to make. In this particular example, it would have to replace the decision-making process of me figuring out who to send to what service center. But to get to that point, we need all these data points collected together, right? So that's what we're building at Schrock right now. So when I say we are doing some cutting edge artificial intelligence development at Schrock Innovations, I mean, I'm not saying we're doing it because we're saints. We're doing it for ourselves. There are parts of our business we want to automate. The parts that basically are the parts that aren't any fun for anybody. The parts like keeping track of HR stuff, keeping track of sick days. You know what a pain in the butt that is for salaried employees? Oh, keep your timesheet? Come on. You know, what if it was just recorded through an app in the phone? And then, you know, now we know when an employee is in the Schrock car, right? And the system knows when the on-sites are supposed to be. It knows what order they're in. So wouldn't it be amazing if our system could detect that the employee is in the car and on the way to the first on-site of the day? The first on-site of the day is Gene. And Gene can get a text message saying a Schrock technician is currently on their way to your home. If you need to cancel an appointment or you can't be there, please press this button or text back cancel. If you want to follow your Schrock technician on the map, click here. It's just like watching your pizza delivery. You can watch the GPS tracker of the phone in the car. Or even better, here's a picture of the Schrock Innovations technician who's coming to see you. Because now we don't have to have like ID badges printed and everything. We can do this all digitally, right? I don't even have to make the guys put on these stupid little badges anymore, like, you know, Geek Squad guys or whatever. There are so many small, cool things that we can do with this that will improve our level of service without compromising because of course when you're not scheduled to work, the Schrock app stops tracking everything. You know, as like one of my employees is like, Thor, I don't know about having to put an app on my phone that tracks me everywhere. And I'm like, listen, Alfonso's making the app. Do you really think Alfonso wants me tracking him everywhere? No. This is being developed by Schrock employees for Schrock employees, so I'm pretty sure your privacy is going to be like top of mind. Okay, so yeah, when you're not on the clock, the Schrock app doesn't record anything about you. Just when you're supposed to be on the clock, that's it. So then during that time, you can do whatever you want. When you clock out and go to lunch, when you walk out the door to go to lunch, it stops tracking you until you come back into the door again. How does it know you're back in the door again? Well, because you're either joining the Schrock Wi-Fi. One guy was like, I don't turn on GPS on my phone because it uses the battery. That's fine. We can geolocate you through Wi-Fi. People don't realize that if you turn off your GPS, the way your phone still knows where you are is it triangulates Wi-Fi networks. So there's all kinds of cool stuff that we can do, that we are doing at Schrock right now, that we probably, if I had to put a number on it, last year we probably sank about $80,000 into this system last year. And we're just now to the point where we can create work orders and things in this system. Different ticket types. Blows your mind when you think about the number of ticket types we have. So for example, a data recovery. When you drop off a data recovery at Schrock right now, literally you're beholden to the guy in the lab calling you back to talk to you about the diagnosis, to tell you the diagnosis. Now, okay, well, hold on, I want to talk to my husband or my wife about that. Can you tell me, what's that called again? The heads crashed into the platters, scraping off the, what? And so you go through all the stuff. What if that was just all in a report? Now, we'll still give a phone call. We're still going to have that personal touch, but it's all online. So you get a text message, your evaluation of your hard drive at Schrock Innovations Data Recovery is complete. Click here to view the details or approve the service. Wow. Now, it might be a half an hour, 45 minutes before I get the time to call you because I'm on the phone with other people or other customers are coming in. But in the meantime, half of those customers are just going to approve it online. And I'll still give them a courtesy call that says, hey, I just want to let you know, we got your approval here and we're moving forward on your data recovery. Thanks, we appreciate your business. It might just be a voicemail because maybe that person doesn't have any more time to talk than I do. But is that not better service? Is that not a competitive advantage? That is not anything that any of our competitors locally or nationally are doing. And we're doing it right here in Omaha at Schrock Innovations. This is the kind of stuff we could do for governments if they would only let us do it. Okay, funny story. You might recall, if you've listened to the show for a while, we did a request for purchase. There was an RFP for the city of Lincoln, building and management services. They wanted a system that would allow tradesmen, contractors like electricians, HVAC, people who have to have professional licenses to do their trade work within the city. they have to renew their licenses annually. To do that, they have to get continuing education. So they have to go to a class. They have to get a piece of paper from the teacher. Piece of paper says you successfully completed this many hours of continuing education. Then they take all their paperwork and their check into the office, and they say, here's my this, and here's my form that I filled out with a pen, and here's my check. Let me write you a check. There you go. Can I have my permit? Yay. Guess what? We can automate all of it. We can eliminate all the jobs in that office except for maybe 2. Because you need some humans that are supervising. There's 7 people in that office. You don't need 5 of them. Now, a lot of people are going to look at this and say, Thor, that's why we're afraid of AI, because it eliminates people's good jobs. These are good government jobs. I'm sorry, but I would love to take the salary of those 5 good government jobs in the city of Lincoln and invest it in a flippin' snowplow. Hello, Lincoln, right? Snowplow. Can we get a snowplow, please? One that doesn't break down. I want a new truck. One that won't break down, that has downward pressure on the blade, you know, like the ones the county has, and Omaha has, and probably Des Moines has. You know, we get snow. We should be ready for snow. You know, there's money and jobs will flow, because once we get this system in place, their own RFP said they did not want anyone coming into the office for any reason. Why do you need 5 people in the office if you're not going to have anybody coming in? Well, I'm sure there's going to be lots of phone and online requests to handle. You're going to have a couple people here because there's going to be people who don't understand how to use the system, or people who are trying to use Internet Explorer, which that was one of the requirements, that the system be compatible with Internet Explorer, because that's all anyone in their office uses. You got to be effing S-ing me. Excuse my French, but wow, that's why this is the AfterSchrock. You want me to build a system that is purposefully compatible with an insecure piece of technology that's going to process payments, will have PCI compliance concerns? For real? Okay, so anyway, so they re-released, they no-bid that. So we put in our thing, and the best part was we told the city, you know, we'll build this whole thing for like 30 grand. Everybody else is coming in with like $100,000, $150,000 bids. We'll build it for 30 grand. We'll charge a convenience fee for every license that's renewed. We'll make money over time. We're okay with that. That encourages you guys to keep the system. It encourages us to keep the system working for you. Everybody has skin in the game and an incentive to deliver great service to the residents of Lincoln. Okay, that was our pitch. They couldn't not give us the job. We were the cheapest bid. We had the most features. We had the best tech. We had that thing locked. So instead, they no bid the job. No bid. Yeah, we're not gonna bid it at this time. That was disappointing. Well, that RFP got re-released yesterday or Friday, and I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm gonna spit shine our presentation and just resubmit it. This is the best. Except they added a couple requirements that prohibited Schrock Innovations from bidding on the job. Specifically, that you must have 5 years experience hosting websites for municipalities the same or larger as Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay, so how many tradespeople are in Nebraska, in Lincoln, Nebraska? How many HVAC people? They estimated 10,000 licenses a year. Okay, so we're talking about a system that was going to maintain 10,000 people. That's it. That's not a municipality the size of Lincoln, Nebraska. That's 10,000 people. We have more people that placed orders so far this year at SchrockInnovations.com. And guess what? We manage their computers' data. We manage their automated payments. We maintain an account for them. We allow them to interface with their account and change their information or even delete their account. Yay! It's all the same thing. We're literally taking the same tech we have, uprooting it and putting it in, reskinning it, and pushing it out the door. It's the same thing, guys, and it's easy. Do you know right now when you go to the Schrock Innovations web server, number one, you're hitting our dedicated server at Rackspace that's behind 2 firewalls. Number 2, some of the images, depending on where you're geolocated, are delivered through a service called a Content Delivery Network, Amazon CDN. It speeds up the delivery of the website so that the content can actually be pulled from someplace, a server that's closer to you. Great. Let's say the whole world blows up and the server goes down. We have a backup server. and it's a cheapo server. It is not going to deliver you a great result. Like, it's going to be slow, but it works when if everything else went down, it would still be up. So we have redundancy. We're doing all this already, but we can't bid on that job. We can't deliver that amazing artificially intelligence driven solution that will save the city of Lincoln hundreds of thousands of dollars a year over time, because they put one line in the RFP that said you had to have experience hosting for a municipality. We're not a municipality. The same size as Lincoln. Well, Lincoln is almost 300,000 people, I think. So yeah, annually we do over 300,000 on our website, but yeah, we don't have 300,000 customers purchasing on the website, so it would be a false comparison. Yeah, so and it's not a municipality anyway, so we don't qualify on 3 counts. And that is how the RFP business and government works. That request for proposal was written very specifically for one specific vendor that they want to do business with, but they're required to put out a request for quotation. That's how all RFQs work. They look at what's available in the marketplace. They say, that system looks nice. I'd like something like that. So they write the RFP for that system. They may call the company and ask them questions. Then it goes through purchasing, and that's the whole point of the purchasing division of the city of Lincoln, is to separate the decision-making process from the people in the office and put it on the purchasing department. But what ends up happening is you end up in a meeting that consists of the purchasing individual plus the people in the office. And then they decide to no bid the darn thing, because it wasn't what they wanted in the first place. So this is why you have to hire a lobbyist, and why you have to be the person that gets the call from the government office that says, hey, how can you automate what we do? Do you know that we could build City of Lincoln? Let me blow your mind. For those of you who are opposed to artificial intelligence, and for those of you who are not in Lincoln and don't know why I keep going back to Lincoln, Lincoln has a crazy policy where they don't plow residential streets unless there's 4 inches of snow or more, first of all. Secondly, they don't, when this big snowstorm hit, they got like a foot of snow and they couldn't get rid of it. They couldn't get it off the road. Their plows were, I was literally doing the Channel 8 news the morning after the snowstorm, where I was navigating around a traffic accident that had the whole highway backed up because Lincoln couldn't plow the dang thing. And I'm not talking about the people that run the plows, okay? I am not talking about the people who run the plows. The drivers who run the trucks are smart people. They know how to get snow off a road, okay? They know how to do it with the equipment they have at hand. I'm telling you, I got a 2-stage snow thrower. I don't have a truck with a blade or nothing. My driveway was clear the next day. We're talking dry and clear. Calcium chloride for the win. Boom. Working, looking good. No ice, no slippy, no fall, nothing. The streets in Lincoln, however, a week after the snowstorm, are still impassable in some residential areas. Complaints. Our trucks are breaking down. Okay, so you're admitting that you don't have proper maintenance of your vehicles to keep them running for, winter, what they're there for. Number 2, we don't have the right equipment. Okay, so what you're saying is administration is not purchasing the right equipment. I find it hard to believe that the snow plows that worked 10 years ago don't still work for plowing snow. Now, the individual snow plows themselves, but I'm talking about the designs, right? There's not some new super awesome downward pressure blade, and I'm sure there's a difference in the equipment, that there's more expensive equipment the county has for whatever reason than the city has. Okay, great. So you have the wrong equipment for the job, the wrong equipment and it's breaking, and you don't have enough time or people running the shifts because hours are being cut administratively. What if we got rid of the administrators? Hello, snowplow drivers. What if we got rid of the administrators? What if we created a system that could tell you exactly where to plow, exactly what streets needed to be plowed first, based on traffic cam data that actually is already in place, that already counts the number of cars that go by. We know what streets need to be plowed first, in what order they need to be plowed. We can make a mathematical equation to figure that out. Once we know that, then as you're plowing the roads, there is a certain amount of driver autonomy that has to happen, where a driver looks at a situation that for one reason or another is squirrely. I don't know, maybe everyone on that block snow threw all their snow into the street. There's something weird going on, and the driver needs to make a human decision to do something different than what the computer is telling him to do. Well, he can do that with this system, just like our techs are going to be able to deviate from, it's not going to be so regimented that we can't deliver customized service. We can still customize our service, but the system's going to ask us, why are you doing this? And then we'll document the override, because maybe there's a factor in our decision making that we're not taking into account. Maybe there's a reason that that driver decided to plow that other road, and maybe that's a decision that we could automate in the future, so that if that really intelligent driver happens to be a less intelligent driver, we still get that outcome, that good outcome we're looking for. So, wow, let's do this. That's why we're talking about Lincoln and their snow plowing all the time. But what if all that was just predetermined, right? Because the day you can't drive a snow plow with automated driving technology. You just can't. It's too dangerous, and you just can't right now. Maybe down the road, but no pun intended, but not right now. But you can automate where they're supposed to go, when they're supposed to be activated. How long is it going to take to plow those roads? Well, we can base that off previous plowing, right? So we know how many hours are going to be required for plow drivers. We don't have to guess. We don't have to have a politician saying, I need to save my butt. What happened all those previous years when we didn't have snow and you had budgeted for snow stuff? They were saying they were running out of salt. So their trucks broke down. They didn't have the right trucks. They didn't have enough hours, and they ran out of salt. And as a result, Lincoln has just a mess. Every other city, Des Moines looks great. Omaha looks great. Drove to Kansas City. Kansas City looks great. Everything's great. You drive to Lincoln, and all of a sudden it's like you're driving on a dirt road because there's so much snowpack on the road that we just can't scrape it off because we don't have the right equipment to do that. So now I'm off on a tangent. I'll bring it back home. Artificial intelligence has the capability to literally make our lives better without becoming the super creepy, all-knowing Alexa computer that anticipates what we want before we want it, and creeps into our lives and allows a human to look into it. No human wants to look through. Do you know, since we've implemented the online system, we have almost 1 million new computers sold. Let that soak in for a minute. 1 million new build work orders have been processed by our online system. No human wants to sit there and dig through that to figure out if your 20-year-old computer is ready for an upgrade. Now imagine the ultimate upgrade. So we sent out a blast email. We blasted everybody. I probably had about 40 people remove their, asked to be removed from the mailing list. Brian was just removed from the mailing list. Brian, you'll be missed, is what it says. This is Brian with the Yahoo email address ending in 1999. I won't go any further than that. But he just removed himself from the list because I sent him an email about the ultimate upgrade, and it obviously did not resonate with him. So he removed himself from the mailing list. What if I knew people who bought a computer in the last 6 months probably aren't too interested in buying another one right now? Unless they, of course, have other computers in their household that we have record of, then maybe they are. But we can make decisions about who to send email to and when to communicate based on this, so that we're sending fewer unwanted communications. Again, better service. Robocalls, they blow. What if we knew in advance customers that weren't going to respond to robocalls? Wow, that'd be great. So last year, this customer, we sent them all the robocalls and they never called us back. So it's likely this year, if we send them one robocall and they don't call us back, they have some kind of blocking service that they're not getting the robocalls. And we need to flag this person for some other type of contact, whether that is a direct phone call from the service center or an email or a text message or something else, because we're not getting through to them with the robocall. There's a lot we can do. So one of the biggest things, and once we do this for ourselves, the technology, as I illustrated with the city of Lincoln, is highly adaptable. It can be, we're taking on this. Most companies don't invest in artificial intelligence because to put a system in place that automates your business, you're talking like $500,000. It's not cheap. We're taking that investment and doing it because we know going forward, once we do that with our business, we'll deliver better service. And our entire shtick is service, right? So we need to be the best at it. And we need to be the best consistently. No matter if Brian is there or Kyle is there or Gabe is there or the new person that we just hired is there, the service needs to be consistent. So we need a system to deliver that. We can take this AI system then, the components of it, and we can break it down and use that for other businesses. So you can see where this is going now. AfterSchrock Interactive is going to be an artificial intelligence leader in, well, certainly in Nebraska. Now the question is, is any government agency going to allow us to automate anything? Cass County Rural Water District, we're about to launch their stuff. City of Louisville, we just launched their new website. There's a couple things I want them to fix on it. If you're watching City of Louisville, there's a couple graphic inconsistencies that I've asked Alfonso to take care of. So if there's a couple changes you notice, that's what that is. But yeah, it's let me write that down. Actually, you can go check it out. This is one we just launched for City of Louisville. Louisville. Ne.com. So you can go to LouisvilleNE.com, and that's an example of just the front-facing website. Now, what you can't see is what we did for Cass County Rural Water District. You can't see it because it's an internal system. It's an internal system that allows them to distribute a warning to customers if there's an issue with the water. Email, phone, text message, click the button, send the warning. They've been asked by the federal government in the past to notify all their customers within a certain number of hours. You can't do that automatically. You can't go hang doors or knock doors or call people manually. There's too many people. So what this bulk notification is a way to get the word out, aside from the media, that reaches more people more quickly, more efficiently. So there are automated decisions that's a very, very first gen artificial intelligence system that we put in place for Cass County Rural Water. That's deployed. That's some of the cornerstone technology that's come from the AfterSchrock AI initiative. Well, I like the way that sounds. We have an AI initiative. The AfterSchrock AI initiative basically developed that tech for our own internal use. And then when Cass County Rural Water came in, we said, we have something that we've been working on that would fit well with this. When we deployed the City of Louisville website, they were blown away. They were like, this is a website like what Omaha would have. This blows our mind. And we're like, thank you. We like that. So yes, we've developed for municipalities the size of Louisville, but unfortunately not the size of Lincoln. So I guess this is just how you get going, right? You get a little bit bigger city, a little bit bigger city, a little bit bigger city, and then all of a sudden, it says right in the RFP, if you do not meet these requirements, do not send in a bid. It's like they knew. I was thinking like, there's got to be some way. Nope. So yeah, anyway, if you have a business and you have any interest in this kind of stuff, the first step that you can take, even if you don't have a budget to do it right now, the first step that you need to take is to start collecting every piece of data that you can, however you collect it, whether that's a system on the internet, whether that's an app, whether that's people keeping track of how many people walk through the door on a piece of notepad paper on the front. You get a Google sheet going. Keep track of every data point you can track. Because the more data points that you can track, this is what we're doing, what Google is doing, but to a much smaller, more privacy-focused degree. Google tracks every data point they can track so they can know everything about you, so they can push ads to you, basically. We want to know, within the realm of your computer life, everything we can about your computer. Not what you're doing on your computer, but about the computer itself, about the technology you're using. How long do you tend to keep your computers? Over time, if you do business exclusively with AfterSchrock, we can see that you tend to replace your computers every 18 months. And what we would do for a corporate client is we would put together a life cycle plan so that it's not a big like shock surprise when you go replace your computer. Oh gosh, I have to replace that. No, it's you tend to replace your computer every 36 months. It's been 38 months. You're probably due for a cycle here. We have a great special on the ultimate upgrade. This is a likely match, right? Send the email. And we can even make it sound really personal, right? Like, hey, Thor calling you here. Just want to let you know that, we got a great special on computers. It looks like you bought one a few years ago. You might be in the market for another one. Give us a call back. And it's better service. All right, so I'm off my AI soapbox now, but I didn't want to talk about it in the radio show because I just spent like half an hour talking about it, and I bet I still freak some people out. Because on the radio I just didn't have enough time. It would have sounded like we're being the next Google, or we're being Facebook, and we're trying to capture all of your information and monitor everything you're doing so that we can develop a picture of you and sell you more AfterSchrock stuff. Obviously we're a business and we need to have our products moving and our services selling. Otherwise, the radio shows, things like this don't happen. We all understand that. On the other hand, there's a good way to do that and a bad way to do that. And we want to make sure we're on the good side, the good way to do that. All righty. Hi, Carolyn from Round Rock. Cold here, 43. Carolyn, I love you, but it's -1 here. I'll take 43. 43, I'll go outside without a coat on, all right? It's going to be mid-70s by Friday. Yeah. Yeah. 66 in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. Robot innovations. Don't call them robots. They're people too, Keith. Your Schrock technician is currently purchasing an extra large monster at Buc-ee's, but we'll be back shortly. Yeah, it's like, oh, it looks like they stopped at the gas station or they stopped at a KFC on the way over. I hope he wiped that grease off his fingers before he touches my laptop. All right. Is this considered continuing education? No, actually, the way we solved the continuing education problem was we said, let's loop the continuing educators in. So as part of the bureaucracy, I'm sure you can't just say, I'm a HVAC teacher and go out and teach a bunch of HVAC guys. This is the metal that makes the duct, and I'm going to Homer Simpson, and there you go, donut. There, you sign your paper. It can't work like that. There's got to actually be some education, which means the people doing the education must have some kind of documentation certifying them as educators, right? So what we did is we created a process by which people who are going to do continuing education for HVAC, plumbing, they go to the same website and they register as an educator. And then the two people that we still need in the office would approve or decline the request to be educated, to be a certified educator for the city of Lincoln. So boom, boom, there you go, approved, declined. Now you're an educator. Then when the HVAC guys or whatever went to these classes, the educator would have a number from their permit, a permit number that he could type in to the city of Lincoln system and add their continuing education credit. So now when it comes time for renewal, as long as the plumber or the HVAC guy has a valid credit card on file, the system will say, your license is coming due, you've met your continuing education requirement, or conversely, your license is due in 60 days or 90 days and you have not met your continuing education requirement, you need to get this done. But it'll remind them if they need reminding, or if they meet the requirements, it's just butter. Their license just renews. They get a receipt in the mail, they get an email saying, hey, your license has been renewed, congrats. If their credit card's expired, they get an email that says, hey, we tried to renew your license. You need to renew it within the next 5 days or your license is going to expire. Log in and put a new credit card in. Literally. It's like Amazon easy. That's how we got around that one, Keith. All right. Document isn't official unless Marge, who has been there since 1942, hasn't touched it. Yeah, there is some of that. Yeah, I knew what you meant. All right. How is a business supposed to compete? How is a business supposed to compete with that system, with that artificial intelligence system? Well, how is a business supposed to compete with the internet? How is a business supposed to compete with a guy who advertises in the Yellow Pages? How is a business supposed to compete with someone who has a TV budget? How is a business supposed to compete with somebody that has a chain of stores across the nation? How is a local hardware store supposed to compete with the Walmart? This isn't a new story. This is business. This is just the evolution of business. And yes, there are going to be businesses that can't compete. And what's going to happen is those businesses are going to fail, or they're going to be absorbed by the businesses that can compete. And then what's going to end up happening is the technology that allowed that business to compete. So, for example, there was a great story. I was listening to Fox Business the other day, and they were talking about a lot of regional banks are merging because they can't afford to compete with the mega banks. So, for example, I bank at Westgate Bank in Lincoln, Nebraska. A beautiful bank. We love Westgate Bank. But I just got the ability to deposit a check with my phone last year. How long have you been able to do that with Chase or US Bank or Bank of America? It's the same thing, guys. I value the community relationship with my community bank. I stay with them even if it's not as convenient sometimes. But that doesn't mean they're not pushing the technology to get that convenience in. So did Westgate Bank develop an online checking application? No. They went to a company like Fiserv that provides that core technology at a cost, per use, per month, whatever, and made it available to Westgate Bank. So now Westgate Bank can offer those same services without having to make that huge upfront IT investment. Same thing we're doing at Schrock. We're just positioning Schrock Interactive to be that company that gets the big business coming to it saying, hey, we don't want to invest $500,000 in AI. What can you do for us, and how do we implement it? That's what we're trying to open up a new business market, but we got to do it for ourselves first so that we know we understand it. That gives us skin in the game. We've demonstrated we can do it. We can show the financial results. We can show the improved levels of service. We can show all these things coming together to make a better, more competitive business. And then we can make it available for other businesses, just like search engine optimization can be made available. How does a business that doesn't have an SEO budget compete with a business that has an SEO budget? The answer is they don't. They get wasted. They get destroyed. You need to spend money on these things if you're competing online. Yeah, it's a grand rant. Yeah, Greg, there's some truth there. I'm replying to a comment here. Greg said something about it being run by Democrats. Democrats don't have, in this particular instance, a monopoly on stupidity. Let's put it that way. Bureaucrats are bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are there to maintain the bureaucracy, right? So whether you love him or hate him, look at Trump. He's coming in and he's blowing up bureaucracies, right? So the bureaucracies don't like it. It makes them nervous. This is a system that's worked for years and years and years, and you're just going to come in here and throw a wrench into our carefully tuned system. Marge does touch every piece of paper that comes through here, because the last time she didn't touch a piece of paper, it was a disaster. So now that Marge is here, we don't screw with things. We let Marge be Marge and touch all the paper, right? So coming in and disrupting a bureaucracy like that, it's scary for the people involved because there is some direct threat to jobs. It's scary for the politician because on one hand, you're making government more efficient, which is a good thing. On the other hand, though, budgets don't work that way. If you don't, I jokingly said, what happened to the money you allocated for snow removal in the previous years? Well, the question is, or the answer is, it got taken back because it's a use it or lose it scenario. You use your office budget or you lose it. So at the end of the year, we have government agencies buying computers and stuff because they have extra budget. They don't need the computers, but they have to spend the budget. Otherwise, next year, their budget gets cut. And nobody wants their budget cut, so we better spend the money. So by automating, you're talking about basically guaranteeing a budget cut. Your budget's going to get cut. That's what more efficient means for the government. Less money spent, less work done, because it's more efficient. That's not a Republican or Democrat issue. That's a bureaucratic self-interest issue, and you really are going to need a breed of politician to come in here. You're talking about blowing up unions now. You're talking about union people don't like fewer jobs. Union bosses, I should say, don't like fewer union jobs because fewer union jobs mean less union dues, which means less power, less collective bargaining power, which is why the union is there in the first place. So why would the union allow artificial intelligence technology to come into the workplace when it's going to cost their union members their jobs? So you can see this is way complex. This is the bumper sticker. Oh, yeah, you can throw that on there, but it goes way deeper than that. And you can complain about it, but the thing is with governments, it's the same thing. When the private industry gets so good at doing things like this, eventually someone's going to come along and just outsource management of licenses entirely. Let's just cut that office. And this is going to start happening when the stuff hits the fan in states like Illinois and California and New York. The SALT deductions being taken away are huge because now the wealth is leaving because they can't deduct their taxes anymore, their local taxes. And so they're like, why am I paying the local taxes? Why do I live here? Do I need to live here? And they're migrating away. So when this starts happening, the local governments are going to have less money to deal with things. And when they have less money to deal with things and they have the same pension obligations, they're going to have to find ways to get wicked efficient. Like we're talking Schrock Innovations can save Illinois efficient. It's going to have to, and that's why we're positioning where we are, because we're not big enough to do something like that today, but 10 years from now, we will be. So if we have the experience and the groundwork laid now, we'll be able to do that. Yep, Detroit, Chicago, LA, grid cities. Yep, grand rant. Viewers still at 46. They're dropping off now, though, so AI is safe. Well, AI can be safe. AI can also be like wicked communist evil, as China is proving. The Uyghur database that got exposed, for whatever reason, they have a facial recognition database of every Muslim in China. And that database was not password protected, apparently, so you could just access it. So I'm sure the rest of the world appreciates the download of millions and millions of faces attached to names and histories and everything. That's great. Good intelligence boon for the world if you wanted to know about Muslims in China, I guess. But yeah, that's it can be used for evil. It can be. You have to be careful with AI. It's got to be regulated. All right. Yep, Ray, that's exactly right. It can be manipulated for very nefarious reasons. Alexa, do you trust it? I have to say, the lovely Kimberly and I are currently evaluating home automation options. There is a certain sexiness to being able to tell Alexa, Alexa, start my morning routine. I just set off everybody's Alexa. And Alexa knows that morning routine kicks off the coffee maker, turns on the lights downstairs, opens the garage door, remote starts your vehicle. Those are all things that I could do right now with the tech I already have if I just integrated it with Alexa. Then you add in all the smart switches and things like that you can put in place. You can set up routines. And Alexa has this thing called hunches that you can turn on. It's on by default. But sometimes if you have an Alexa in your house, she creepily goes off sometimes with something that's completely irrelevant, right? She just starts talking and you're like, why are you talking? It's because she had a hunch you were looking for something. So hunches is really, really raw right now. Like not ready for prime time, but it's on by default. You can turn it off. But basically the home automation stuff, I'm looking at my shops and I'm thinking about what else, once we have this great artificial intelligence system in place, how can I take that to the next level? We can put magnetic locks on the doors so that the doors will lock if there's no customers in the service center at 8 o'clock or 8. They're supposed to lock at 8:05 because this is a lesson I learned from Valentino's. People's watches are wrong, and you don't want to tick off the guy that insists it's 8:59 and I want a pizza. So you shut the door, you lock the place up at 8:05. You open up at 7:55 or at 9:55. You shut it down at 8:55. So we want to unlock the doors in the service center only when there's an employee in the service center. So if everybody was late to work that morning, we obviously don't want to unlock the door. That'd be stupid. We have the robot vacuums cleaning the floors already. We want to turn the lights on because there's no point in turning the lights on. We want to adjust the thermostat probably a half an hour before we open to give the place time to get up to temperature or down to temperature, whatever the case might be. There could be any number of things we want to turn on, or turn on Sensies, turn on ambient music, things like that we can turn on or off. We can literally automate all of that so that my employees right now, half their checklist is unlock the door, turn on the door motor, so that the handicap motor, because if you lock the door and you don't turn off the motor, kids come by and hit the button and it just grinds the motor because the door is locked and it can't open. Turn on the lights, do things like that. These are all things that are on checklists that I have in the service centers that humans have to do. What if you didn't have to? How much time does that save them? How much money does that save me? What can I do with that savings to deliver better products or services? What new thing can I invent now because I have this extra money? And each individual small savings isn't enough to really, just like in the government, building and safety isn't going to save the government of Illinois, if we automate that. But if we did that in every department and we eliminated 3/4 of the staff of the city basically, and we actually delivered better service to the residents in the process, well, yeah, you better believe that's a taxpayer win. So one of those things. All right, let's see. So Alexa, do I trust it? The answer is probably yes right now. I installed the app on my phone and activated it the other day. I can remote start my car with my voice now. I can unlock my car with my voice. In fact, let's do this. Because it's getting close to the end of the AfterSchrock here. My voice is starting to crap out on me, and it's been the requisite 45-minute second show here. It'd be like Rush Limbaugh soon doing 3 hours a week. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open Alexa. And I turned up the media volume so you'll hopefully be able to hear her. All right. Oh, my gosh. The problem with Alexa is you have to memorize the cadence of what to do. So you have to say it right. So I'm going to try to say it right. So if it doesn't work, lovely Kimberly, bail me out and tell me what to say because she set it up on her car first, actually. All right, here we go. Alexa, tell Ford MyPass to start my vehicle.
Okay, here's Ford Pass. Okay, say your PIN.
1720.
Sending start command to your vehicle.
It started. I'm just saying. So now I had to activate the Alexa app on my phone, but I can set Alexa up to listen all the time. So do I trust her enough to listen all the time? Not yet. Do I trust her enough to run her and do cool things like that and show it off on a camera? That whole setup right there is thanks to the lovely Kimberly. She's the one with her foot in my hindquarters saying, let's get the smart home stuff moving. And of course, she's like, because your customers are going to want this someday, and you need to know how to do it. And she's right. She's right. But like anybody, I have like, do I really want to learn something new today? But so I'm going to learn something new today, and it's cool, right? It's really cool. All right, last call for questions, and I got to get rolling. Oh, you know what? That's the other thing. We can create a AfterSchrock app. Georgia says she needed a reminder because, oops, she let her maintenance checkup certificate expire. If it's expired just by a few weeks or something, just bring it in. We'll honor it. We're not big on taking money from people and not giving them value. But what if there was a AfterSchrock app that you could install on your phone that allowed you to access your AfterSchrock account? You could make your purchases online if you wanted to. You could track your purchases. You could get delivery notifications. You can get status updates pushed to your phone as your computer moves its way through the repair process. You could get reminders when you have a maintenance checkup certificate that's going to expire. When it's time next month to run that big Microsoft update, you'll get a reminder that it's time to do that, do it now kind of thing. There's a lot of things that we could do. And again, it's about improving the service level. It's about making things better. These aren't new things that no one else is doing. It's just the technology now, the cost of developing the tech is small enough now that a company our size can afford to get in on it. And because I tend to ask why not instead of why a lot of times. So that leads me down rabbit holes sometimes. Why can't we do that? Why would we want to? Well, if we did that, then we could do this. Yeah. It'd be kind of cool. So it's one of those rabbit hole kind of things. Keith, you're a jerk. Or were you just telling me? Ray, you're a jerk. Come on. Oh, that's funny. All right, it already has a 500 gig solid state in my laptop. Could it be transferred to an ultimate upgrade laptop? Absolutely, it can be transferred over. We can do anything like that. Now, the only trick here is if we move your solid state over into the ultimate upgrade, it won't be covered by the ultimate upgrades warranty. So if you got the 500 gig solid state from us, it has a 1-year warranty on it, that would be covered under its original 1-year warranty. The laptop would be covered under its 1-year warranty. Now, here's the funny part. When it comes time to extend the warranty, if you extend the warranty on the laptop, at that point, we're probably going to cover everything. Because right now our system doesn't have the ability, because we never thought back in the day, the bureaucracy never thought, gee, we'll have a computer that's half new computer and half used computer. That isn't ever going to happen. In reality, things like this happen. And so, wow, we need an ability to track warranty status based not only on the whole unit, but the components within the unit. Never would have thought of that before. This is the kind of stuff the AI is going to let us do. But yes, so in the meantime, we can absolutely put that in there for you. Gosh, you could start your car from Omaha when the car is in California. You sure could, Keith. I need to overwrite a 500 gig hard drive. What software can I use? If the 500 gig hard drive is a secondary hard drive, if it's your C drive, it's a little trickier. But if it is in your computer and it's not the C drive, you can download a free program called C Cleaner. This is supported by Secure Updater. You can open your Secure Updater, go to Programs, and just put a check next to Secure Updater, click up or to C Cleaner, click Update, and it'll just download for you. But go in there, you can install C Cleaner on your computer, and C Cleaner under the Tools section has a drive wipe, and you can select the level of wipe you want. A simple 1-0 pass should be sufficient for most things, unless you're trying to hide state secrets. Then you want to do the 9-level Department of Defense style pass to clear it off, and it'll take days and days and days to clear it. But the single pass should only take a couple hours. It'll write a 1 or a 0 randomly to every sector on the drive, and that should make any data there unrecoverable. All right. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's exactly what I would use, Greg. Now, if you were going to try to do it from DVD, there's all sorts of Linux programs you can boot from a DVD and zero a hard drive from. The other thing is if you're trying to recycle the drive, you can't just drop it off at AfterSchrock. We're doing the ultimate upgrade right now. You might have heard I'm kind of big on recycling things. Yes, you can trade in an old computer for the ultimate upgrade. No, you don't have to recycle something. Recycling is free at AfterSchrock all year, all the time. Doesn't matter when. You can drop off any computer-related equipment at AfterSchrock. We take it all for free except for monitors. Monitors are charged $15 a piece. We do not take TVs or satellite dishes or microwave ovens or appliances of any kind. No, we won't take your 42-inch rear projection TV in a wood cabinet. Please don't leave it sitting in front of our door before we open because, hey, what are you going to do once it's there? Yes, that's actually happened. Thor, Kathy, back in the day in Lincoln, I can't get into the shop because there's a giant TV in front of the front door. Like, what? Yeah, there's like a 42-inch rear projection TV and a giant oak casing, and there's no caster wheels on it. I can't move it. I can't get in. So we're going to be late opening this morning. I'm out here with some customers. They're going to try to help me move it. We actually had that happen. So, yeah, we don't recycle that stuff, but you can drop off anything anytime you want at Schrock, and we'll recycle it as far as computer-related equipment, printers, keyboards, mice, cords, that kind of stuff. Cell phones, tablets, yes, we'll recycle those as well. Those are technically computer-related in our opinion. All right. The laptop's an older HP Beats. The old 1 terabyte drive went bad 3 years ago. It presently has a Samsung solid state. Yeah, absolutely. That Samsung solid state will zero real quick. Oh, we can move that. I was the one that wanted to move. So, yeah, we can move that Samsung solid state right over for you. And then the Samsung ones are nice. They got good trim functionality. So here's the deal, guys. We're open today in all 3 service centers. We're open from noon until 5 on Sunday. All the rest of the days of the week, we're open from 10 in the morning until 8 in the evening. If you're thinking about dropping off a repair this week, this is stuff, again, I don't say on the radio because I don't want to discourage people from going to their favorite service center. But I can tell you the Papillion, their bench is virtually clear right now. So if you want fast turnaround time on a repair job, Papillion is the place to go. Omaha is about 50%, Lincoln about 50% right now. We're coming out of the February doldrums. Lincoln's February was atrocious because of the roads. It was the city of Lincoln says that, well, we can plow more, but your taxes are going to be higher. How much revenue did the city of Lincoln lose from sales taxes because people couldn't go out and shop? Just saying. Not to beat a dead horse on a slick road. But if you would have taken your horse, you might have got to the shop. All right, guys. We will see you again next Sunday for another edition. Have a great evening or a great afternoon and a great rest of the weekend.